Good evening and welcome to the last show of Coach World TV. As I mentioned in my last interview, we are actually signing off tonight. I am Terry Yoffe, and as my guest, befitting to our last evening, is Laurie Lawson. Hi, Laurie.
Hi. Little tears are going to come down our faces.
And so Laurie was one of the creators of Life Coach TV and then Coach World TV, which was Laurie's creation.
No, I'm good at
Coach World TV.
Coach World TV
Yes,
was, yeah.
exactly.
But about 10 years ago, Dr. Mariana Lead, who was the president of ICF-NYC, came down here, and this neighborhood was not developed at all, and with using English as a second language, filled out all the papers and decided she wanted to be Oprah, and she wanted her own television show, and by gosh, she got it, and it was called Life Coach TV, and it was sponsored by ICF-NYC.
Right.
And then suddenly she realized, you know what, I have to be here every Monday night. It's like, I need some help. So she's recruited me and our dear friend Bonnie Gerwitz, who has passed on. And we did the show for a while. And then we said, you know what, we need some help. And we recruited Terry, who took the training. And we left it, and then it's been an interesting ride.
It has been. It's I've been doing it for 4 years, and yeah, it's hard to believe that, you know, I'm the past president of ICF-NYC chapter, and Laurie is
the past president
of ICF-NYC. So tonight we thought that it was, as I said, befitting for the two of us, for the last show, to I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to reminisce.
But that's not how most of the shows went anyway. It's like, I hope this goes okay. Yeah.
We're going to reminisce. We're going to talk about transitions and leave everybody on a high note that this was an amazing, amazing opportunity and chance to, for me anyway, have a lot of great guests that I interviewed. I interviewed Laurie. Laurie's interviewed me.
It's called filling in when you can't get a guest. Yeah.
And what I've learned about being in front of a camera for 4 years and how it has helped me in my professional life and my personal life. So
I love that.
Laurie,
What are some what have you learned? And then I'll share.
oh God, on the spot.
All right, I'll share. One of the things that I learned was to put myself over here, because most of the time when people come on, they're very nervous, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, and this is a live show, so there's much to be nervous about, because anything could happen. So it was like how to nurture and take care of and bring out the best in my guest. And like you, I've had some amazing guests, and if I could say one of the best things about doing this, it's getting to know people and on a very
absolutely.
I mean, this is kind of an intimate, even though you're sharing it with the world, because it does go worldwide even via the internet,
right?
Yeah, and YouTube. It's like you're being very intimate with the person, and I feel like I'm taking care of them and sort of, you know, relaxing them and getting them to tell what message they want to get out there. So that was one of the things I think I learned how to do, and it was put myself secondary. Because let's face it, we all like a little recognition, a lot of bright lights,
and and that's great. I actually didn't think of that,
but you did it.
But no, as you were describing what you learned, I realized, yeah, that's true. I always sit here because that's my better side, and my guest always sat here, and it really was about making sure, because most of the guests that came on were nervous. I remember the first show I did with Michelle
Shubnow?
Yes. And I was so nervous. I hardly didn't eat, and I, you know, but it was great. So I've learned, obviously, 4 years later and many, many guests later, that I'm not nervous anymore. Yet guests come on the show and they are very nervous, and it's making them comfortable and telling them, it's easy, it's fun, and helping them,
Right.
by filling in. Because sometimes you have guests that are great and they've got a lot to say, and 28 minutes whizzes by. Other times we have guests that don't have a lot to say, and it's like spending a year in Cleveland, even though it's 28
No offense
minutes.
to Cleveland, yeah.
That
Yes, good point.
they don't have a lot to say, and there's nothing, we're live TV, you have to help them along. So
Yes.
I think I've learned to kind of be quick on my feet, ask really good questions, and keep the momentum going, and having our guests be comfortable in the end, say, wow, that was great, and then getting a tape and
it
seeing
went so fast.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, that's
exactly.
interesting because I remember the first time when I was on the show as a guest, and Mariana interviewed me. And just before we were I was so nervous and
Right.
my heart was palpitating. And I said, you know what, Laurie, you can ruin this whole experience by being nervous, or you can have fun. And went, oh, okay, I'll have fun. And I have always kept that attitude with the guests too. It's like, we're going to have fun. If nothing else happens, we're going to have fun. I can guarantee that. And I think that's important because it's not brain surgery.
No,
And there are people who are
right.
giving great messages out there, and you want to get them out, but you want people to be relaxed.
Right.
And it's really the
Right.
responsibility
It's so
of
true.
the host.
The host, exactly. That is, so true. But my experience is everyone pretty much is really nervous right before. I know when Mariana interviewed me, I was getting on the show, was so nervous also.
Yes, yes.
And my husband keeps reminding me, well, remember when you started doing the show, it's a far cry from where you are now.
Yes, yes.
4 years later, and I don't, as I said,
Many
lot-
guests.
many guests.
Many guests.
So it's also been a great experience, I think, when as presidents, that during the monthly meetings you have to get up in front of a group
Right.
and talk. So for me and other places I get up and I have to speak, it's made me more comfortable actually getting up and being more natural and being more relaxed in my presentation and having fun and not having it be always so serious. So that's another thing that I learned about myself.
If you had, and I used to think when people go, I love public speaking, I
Yeah.
go, they're lying. There's no way you could love public speaking. It's like, I love the dentistry. They
Right.
just were lying. And now, truthfully, I love public speaking. Because it's
Right.
comfortable,
Uh-huh.
you feed off the energy, you
Right.
know you're putting a
Exactly.
message out there.
Exactly.
And I attribute that to this crazy camera and
Right. Partly.
and yeah,
Absolutely.
some of the things that we've had to do. And the more you do something, the more comfortable you become with it naturally. Tell me how you're handling, how do you plan to handle, because I know how I handle my transition. How do you plan to handle transitioning out of here?
Out of here, you mean Coach World TV?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because there's several transitions taking
this
place
is
for me.
Terry. 2015 is going to be a transition year for
It's a
Terry. yes.
transition. I was president for 2 years, and I'm past president, so at the end of the year, I actually roll off a board, the New York City chapter of ICF, where I was on the board for 8 years. Laurie and I went on the board together.
Together, yeah.
So that's one transition. And Coach World TV, it was a lot of thinking for me as to really where I wanted to put my energies next year. And as Laurie had mentioned, there were 4 of us doing the show.
Yes.
We had a weekly show, if anyone remembers, and there were 4 of us doing the show. And then it got to Laurie and I. And I have to thank
that worked out
Laurie.
beautifully.
Yeah,
It
but
really
you did
did.
the lion's share.
You think
did.
I
Yes,
did?
you
No,
did.
I thought we
Yes, you
shared.
did. No, we
She
did
tricked
not.
me then. I thought we
did-
shared
no,
it
we did
equally.
not. We did not. And then as Laurie rolled off and decided, to do other things, she has the coaching game on
Right.
Tuesday nights, I
Right.
believe.
Yes, yes.
So she went off and did that, and it was me. And we took 4 times a month to twice a month. And this year I had to give a lot of thought as I was rolling off the board. It just didn't make any sense to continue. As much as I've loved it and everything I've gained, it was time to kind of move into other things for me. And so I made the decision to sign off tonight. And having Laurie here was wonderful, wonderful. And I thank you for being my cohort in crime.
For many years, yes, yes.
But especially tonight, it's a little nostalgic.
We've spent the last 2 hours just reminiscing about, I think, from day one. Yes, it's a little nostalgic. We won't bore you with that.
Right. So where do we want to go?
Well, let's see. I'll tell you about my transition and what I did, because I was ready. As Terry said, we were doing a lot of work and keeping the 4 shows going and the weekly shows going, and suddenly I decided I became totally infatuated and in love with Points of View, the coaching game, and I really wanted to devote my attention to that and expand that and do workshops and introduce people to it. And it occurred to me, it's like, well, I'm not ready to give up the spotlight, so to speak. So why not have a show that's devoted to the coaching game? So what I did was tell Terry, okay, I'm going to go. I'm starting in January of this year. So what I did was I have an every other week show on Tuesday nights, but I don't do it live. I learn. That's another lesson I learned, no live. So yeah, we tape, and then, but I've managed, and my goal is to this year to expand it a little, because I know it's Points of View is an international family, and there are people from all over, and I'm dying to figure out how to Skype and make that a show. You know, there are so many people. I have people coming from Italy in January who are going to be on the show, and they're from the Points of View family. I've had the creators, Efrat and Yaron, from Israel here, and they were on the show. But I want to learn how to expand it and how to get all the people from all over the world in. So that's a goal.
Wow, interesting.
It's a big goal.
Very interesting.
So that's my transition. So I'm sort of easing out. Terry's just like cutting off. But that's not true, because you went from 4 to 2.
I went to twice, and one of my shows was always a tape, because it was an interview that I had done earlier. So one was a tape and one was live. So twice a month. And
so if we had to give advice to people about how to deal with transitions, and that's any kind of transition, what are some of those? What are some of the coachy things we could tell them?
Transitions, not always easy. Transitions are places to reflect.
Great time to do that.
Really reflect on where you've been, what not certainly always looking in the rearview mirror, but looking in it enough to really reflect on, what did I learn, what did I grow, and looking out the front window to look at, where am I headed. Really, the transition is somewhere in the middle, where you're looking back, you're looking forward, you haven't quite moved there yet, but you've got some visions as to where you might want to go. And I think that it's until you can let go of things, so other things can come into play. So, transitions are losses.
And gains.
And what?
And gains.
Gains, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't mean loss in a negative way. Loss in a way of letting go. And letting something shift and change, and then moving with whatever comes up. So that's one definition of transition.
My tagline is, life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the trip. So I think I would tell people, it's like, change is inevitable. No matter if you could fight, but there's going to be change. Change will happen. Hopefully you'll be guiding that change. If not, then you'll go for the ride. But have fun. It's like, enjoy it, because this is we admitted when we both became past presidents as opposed to very active presidents, it was like, what a change. And it was like,
exactly.
okay, this is going to happen. And we wanted it to happen, but it was a whole different thing. So it was like, how are we going to adapt? And what I told Terry is, the amazing thing is, as soon as that opened up and I didn't have quite so much responsibility, there was a host of other things that came in and say, oh, I can do that now, and I can do that.
Exactly.
So it was, that's why I'm saying gain, you know, it's like, it's definitely a loss of one role, but a gain of another. So I would just say that it's going to happen. You can't fight that. So have fun, you know, just have some fun doing it.
I think a lot of people are very, you know, change is the new norm.
Yes.
Change happens. It's there more so than ever before. Ever before. And those that want to, you know, we love our comfort zones.
Yes.
We all do. You know, the blankie and the milk and cookies is wonderful.
Yes.
It's lovely. It doesn't do anything. You know, it's just a comfort zone.
Right. It's a resting place.
Yeah,
it's
and
a
that's
reflecting
cool. And that's
place.
fine. It's a reflecting. It's all of those wonderful things. However, somewhere there's got to be a time to kind of, in the bigger game, take a bold step, or go into a place of the gulp, which is, you know, stretch yourself in a scary, uncomfortable way.
Right.
Which a lot of people don't like that. It
Many
scares
people
them.
don't.
You know,
But
that's where the juice is. That's where the gain is.
There's something on Facebook that says, life is here and it's your comfort zone. It's right outside. You've seen that, right outside your comfort zone. That's where life begins.
And it's
so
life
when
is
you
here
get
in
comfortable,
this little thing, and then that's the donut hole.
Exactly.
And then you know, the donut is, well, that's where
right
life,
outside. That's where it is. And that's I think change is a problem for a lot of people. And I guess what we do as coaches is try to, one, get people to accept change, and then to adapt to it, and then to thrive in it, you know, in that area, you know, in that sequence.
And that's true, because people are mostly in survival mode. In a lot of cases, they're not in thriving mode, and
in order to thrive, you've got to take that step
where
you don't really know where the next one's going, but you have to just sort of jump out.
It's as you know, one of my examples is letting go of one trapeze to get to the next, and it's in that limbo place. People don't want to let go.
Right.
They don't want to let go because it's a limbo before you grab onto the next ring or rung. That's the place, the turbulent waters where you don't know what's happening, you don't know what's going to take place. But you're in that place of, oh my God, I let go, now what?
It's
you
like,
know, and
I think you just have to trust that, you know, you've survived this long. So whatever happens, you're gonna be able to do it. But yeah, that's the letting go. That's the hard part. But it seems like you've mastered that.
Oh well, I don't know. You know, talk about as presidents, and you know, for 2 years you're up in front of the room, and then as a past president, you kind of in the back of the room.
It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. It happens like that.
Yeah.
You know, first you're in front and you're doing all of this, and you're in the spotlight and you're in control, and then you're kind of in the back of the room while the new president is up in front.
It's a very strange transition.
That's a big kick in the butt.
Yes.
If you will.
Little ego bruising going on. You have to sort of work it up again.
Exactly.
And then suddenly you go, oh my gosh, well that means I have X amount of time that I can do what I really want to do. So yeah, there's yin and yang on that one. You know, all transitions are not smooth for sure.
No, I think I don't know that they are, and maybe they're uncomfortable And so maybe it's not meant to be smooth.
No, I think you have to embrace it. And when you're
Right.
uncomfortable, you know something's about to happen. It's like something is
right.
going. Because
That's
there's a philosopher. I'm always quoting people, and I never remember who it is. But somebody said that all action stems from negativity. Because if you're walking along in paradise, you're not going to move. You're crazy. Why would you move? You know. But when something's nudging you, going like, "Ooh, this is taking too much of my time," or "This I don't have the
Right,
energy,"
right.
then suddenly you're going to make that change. So just a little bit of negativity is good, and a little bit of discomfort. Then you know
Well,
you want to go get
discomfort.
comfort again, yeah, or you challenge
Well,
yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, people like comfort zones. They're, as I said, that's where they're comfortable. It takes a lot for somebody to decide to jump off the cliff, you know,
Right,
and
right.
hoping there's a net somewhere to lift them, you know.
But you know
Whatever
what?
metaphor you want to
Yeah,
use.
no, what I saw happen like in 2008 though, people were playing by the rules and they had their retirement all set up and
Yeah,
they
well,
were going to do,
right.
and suddenly someone pulled the rug out and
Right.
it's like, what happened? You know, I knew how to play
Exactly.
this game and suddenly it's
Right.
a whole new game.
Right,
And
exactly.
because I had an HR background, I said, all right, you know what, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to help people reinvent themselves. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since, and it's so much fun. It's like, okay, that was you, but now who are you, and now who do you want to be?
Yeah, right.
And
Right.
yeah, and you're right. Comfort is thrown to the wind. It's like I think 2008 and everything following that showed us that there
no
is no
security.
comfort. Yeah,
There's
there
no
is no
security.
comfort. There's no security.
Right, right.
So now you have to, and I love that that's what coaches do. Now you have to develop those inner strengths that you have, and I think we bring them out in people.
They bring it out. We just help them. We shine the light.
I want some credit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, my agenda. but
Right.
well.
Yeah. Oh.
But no, you do. You show
shine
you
the
show
light
them.
on what
you know,
they've got. That
yes,
they
absolutely.
Because today, meaning today, the world. It's change. Everything is change, and being able to keep up with the changes and whatever that is, reinventing yourself, repositioning, redefining, is what everybody is doing or has to do to create something different, staying, you know, who you were, the role you had, where that just changes. It's just there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for those that don't, they get left behind.
They do, and that's okay if you want to be left behind. Some people just want to be left alone, you know. But there are those who have that nudge, you know.
Well, yeah, I think yes, and I think everyone deep down wants to move somewhere or do something, and maybe they've got a story around why they don't do
I'm
it.
sure they do.
Why they don't do it.
I'm sure they do.
You know, people come to coaching because they want change. Then maybe they might not be sure what exactly they want, but they
Right.
know they want something.
They know there's something else. I
Right,
think they always
right,
know there's something.
right.
What made you decide to become a coach?
Oh my God.
How many minutes do we have now?
Oh, we have a few left. In a nutshell, I was in advertising sales, and I always dealt with people my whole career. And I also spent many, many years in therapy, and I wanted to be a therapist. And then when my advertising career started to change, I had to decide what did I want to do. And I said, well, I'll go back to school, become a therapist. It was a lot more schooling than I wanted to put in, and it was just, my mindset had shifted, and I never even heard of coaching.
Yeah.
And then somehow I stumbled upon it, and I did a lot of research. I said, okay, in 2003, I started my coaching journey. So I'm going into leaving my 11th year of coaching
Wow.
and moving into my 12th. So that's how it started.
Amazing,
You know?
yeah.
And you?
I started
I
in
know?
2004, and I had climbed the corporate ladder and got almost to the top and looked down and went, I'm not having fun. I don't like this at all. I didn't like who I was becoming either in order to do that. So I sort of took a year off and did some stuff, and then decided I wanted to learn more about myself. And so I was looking for a coach, and I was, you know, they say, oh, you can become a coach. I go, no, I want a coach. They go, trust me, when you become a coach, you're going to learn all about yourself.
Right.
So the first, and my coaching was done in 3 modules. So the first module was like it was hedonistic. It was all about me. Oh my gosh, look what I don't know, and look what. The second one, I realized this stuff is so good, it has to be shared. You can't just keep this to yourself. And I decided, okay, I really want to be a coach. And I'm going into my 10th year. Yeah,
Wow,
it's a long time.
It is.
We are old coaches.
Well, but
seasoned.
When you think about the trainings, you went through IPAC, and you got certified through them.
Right.
I went through CTI, which were different courses, modules. And then I took a 6-month certification with them.
Wow, okay.
I got my certification. And then through ICF, you got your ACC, and then your PCC.
Right.
And I got my ACC and my PCC.
Now she's going for the MCC.
Next year, my goal is to go for my MCC. And everything else that I've done and you've done. So here we are, 2 past presidents, you know, sitting on a limb, talking about where we've been, where we are, and all the experiences.
It's
and
amazing.
What we've learned and where we are, you know, 12 years later, 10 years later, it's like amazing what
Totally
we've
amazing.
done together and separately.
And I'm so glad that you shared the journey with me for so
God.
much of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, because we were talking about what a great group it was to shape the future and get coaching out there. And I think that's kind of what the television show's about too, because we wanted to share it with as many people as we could and let people know there's this really cool organization, ICF, and this is really cool profession called coaching.
Exactly. And just thinking about God, all the fun we had at the conferences, and you know, there's such a thread and a woven experiences, the woven fabric of what we've shared over all of these years.
Definitely.
That, you know, it's a little nostalgic.
It's very sad. I told you we're going to cry.
But, you know, so with a couple of seconds left, we wanted to share what we thought was important, and you know, our experiences and where we've come and where we're going, and coaching, and certainly we wouldn't be here without the ICF New York chapter.
No, what a great opportunity.
A great organization, ICF, a great chapter. There's lots to do and lots to see in a community of like-minded people.
Right.
So we encourage you to join and to become part of it. And I don't know what we do for the last few seconds. Do we sing? Do we dance?
No. But we could.
You know.
I think we just say bye and thanks for tuning in.
Right,
and,
exactly. Thank you.
We'll see you on the road.
Thank you so much for being part.
Bye.